guys, it's Sim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on the 6th of April, 2022, to talk about everything that went down tonight on AEW Dynamite. And to be honest, I felt like this show started good. Let's do it this way. Started good, then dipped and got boring, and dipped and got even more boring, and then came back for the main event. That's my opinion. I was bored through the majority of this show. I liked the first two matches. I liked the main event. We'll get into all that. But for the most part, I thought this was an okay episode of Dynamite. I almost said Rampage. Well, just an okay episode of Dynamite. Because most of the show to me, like especially the Julia Hart Sheeta match, was boring. That tables match just sucked. I was bored through the whole thing. I mean, Wardlow, he's just going to mull through the security every week, and it doesn't even make a difference. MJF says, we're going to get twice as much security next week, and he's going to beat up twice as many guys. I mean, shit. Really? Like the Wardlow stuff, when he beat through the security last time, and I go, okay, that was cute. And they do it again? Like, what? They're just going to keep having him beat up a bunch of guys? It's getting old already. But we'll see where it all does go. There actually was an injury before Dynamite as well we are going to talk about. But with that, for all of that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PW Unlimited. If you're watching here on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Remember, if you pay for Amazon Prime, you take that Amazon Prime account, take that Twitch account, you link them together, bada bing, bada boom, you're Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games right now. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Game of the Year Edition. It gives you free stuff for games like Grand Theft Auto Online, Fall Guys, Valorant, and more. And the one thing that never changes is you get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you subscribed right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But on the flip side, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out over there as well with a super chat or a super sticker donation. Remember, all super chat donations do get read live on the air. Also, remember, you can hit that join button down below to become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access podcast episodes, early access non-news videos, and so much more. Plus, remember, you get all that by heading over to patreon.com/PW Unlimited. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Buy something like a new game, maybe Sifu. Buy something like an old game, maybe Grand Theft Auto 5. Whether you're buying something, claiming the free game, or getting V-Bucks for Rocket League, use the code PW Unlimited at checkout, and you'll be supporting us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But with that, before Dynamite even started, we had an injury, and I do want to bring that up right here and talk about that. Let's pull up. We do have some images from fans that were in attendance as well. So I'm going to pull these up. Whoops, I clicked the wrong button to pull them up. Got one more here. So every week before AEW Dynamite, they film AEW Dark Elevation. And the first match they filmed tonight was Leela Hirsch against Christina Marie. And during the match, at one point, there was it's It's not clear exactly what this was. It was either Leela Hirsch going for a moonsault or doing a backflip out of the corner. Regardless, when she landed the flip, people in attendance said that her knee buckled. Her right knee buckled. The referee immediately went to check on her as she grabbed the knee, and he threw up, well, the dreaded X sign. Throw up the X to say, hey, somebody's hurt. AEW medical staff then ran down to check on Hirsch, and, well, we didn't get word if the match was just ended, but, like, if they just waved the whole match off, but we do know that she did have to be helped to the back. So, unfortunately, Leela Hirsch was injured, and I do have, again, some images we can look at right here. Why is it not flipping? There we go. So this one right here, we got the doctor checking on her, and they keep going right onto that right knee. They keep going, checking that right knee. And they're checking the knee there as well. You got the opponent, Christina Marie. And then this is them helping her up and helping her up the ramp out because, well, she couldn't walk at all. They basically, I talked to one person there that was live, one person that was there live, and they did tell me that it looked like she just couldn't put any weight on it. It looked like the knee buckled off the flip, the moonsault or whatever, and she just collapsed. Went down. Doctor immediately checked on her because she grabbed the knee, and that's unfortunate. Very unfortunate to see Leela Hirsch suffer a possible bad injury. I mean, we don't know the severity of the injury, and hopefully it's nothing bad. Maybe she just tweaked the knee and just, quote, hurt it tonight, and she'll be good to go after this. But we will continue to follow this story. We will monitor this, and if we do hear anything further on Leela Hirsch possibly suffering some sort of a knee injury tonight prior to Dynamite, we will have it for you right here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But as far as the show itself does go, Dynamite opened up with Adam Cole and Christian Cage. And I really liked this match. I thought this was a great match. So early on, Cole spat in Christian's face, but Christian didn't fall for it. He Cole's trying to bait him in and get him off of his, not distract him, but kind of frazzle him. And instead, Christian attacked with some lariats and chops. Well, chops and lariats. They fought on the outside for a moment, but then back in the ring, Cole cut Christian off by kicking his legs out by kicking his legs out onto the second rope and landing a thrust kick. Cole then whipped Christian over the steel steps ahead of a commercial break. Back from said break, Christian sent Cole to the floor, and someone landed a dive off the turnbuckle. He didn't really land it. Cole tried to take the advantage, but Christian regained control and landed 10 punches in the corner. And there's a sunset flip, followed by a 2 count, then a swinging DDT. We got 2 more. Cole then countered another sunset flip attempt into a backstabber for a 2. Christian cradled Cole for a near fall, and then hit a reverse DDT. Cole rolled out of the way of a diving headbutt and landed a thrust kick before lowering the boom and got a 2 off of it. Didn't lower the knee pad, though, so that's when I go, oh, this ain't the finish. He did the lower the boom or whatever you want to call it, but he didn't pull the knee pad down, and when you don't pull the knee pad down, you know it ain't the actual finish and then final spot of the match. Christian hit an over-the-top rope right hand, but Cole countered a dive with a super kick. Got a 2 off of it. Christian did reverse the Panama Sunrise and hit a top rope Frankensteiner for a 2 of his own. Cole super kicked Christian's knee, but Christian stopped the Panama Sunrise again. Cole countered a pump kick and dropped the knee pad this time. Christian countered the boom into a spear for a near fall. Cole then poked Christian's eyes, hit the lower of the boom, and picked up the victory. Again, the knee pad's down, he hits it, we know it's over. Knee pad ain't down, it ain't ending the match. After the match, Hangman's music would play. Actually, after the match, Red Dragon would run out. Red Dragon would run out, they'd all try to attack Christian, Tag Team Champions would run out to make the save. Christian's music, or Hangman Page's music would then play. Hangman would get into the ring and look at Cole and say, you want this title? You want another shot at this title? Well, I know we've got Battle of the Belts No, not Battle of the Bulls. We got a live Rampage coming up next week. How about we do this in a Texas death match? He's like, you got 9 days to figure out what you want. And I go, Texas death match again? Didn't you just do this with Lance Archer? They go to the Texas death match well a little too often here in AEW, just saying. Video package recapped Jay Lethal's attack on Jonathan Gresham at Supercard of Honor and Samoa Joe making his big arrival. Speaking of Samoa Joe, we had Samoa Joe versus Max Caster in a qualifying match for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Joe makes his entrance, gets a huge reaction from the crowd, and then Max Caster makes his entrance with his rap and has a couple interesting lines here. First off, he calls Joe injury prone and then says that when they were beating the competition in the ratings, Joe was actually the champion over there. And I'm like, ooh, not a bad shot. That's actually not a bad shot. Then the bell rings. Caster gets in Joe's face, and Joe responds by effortlessly beating him down. Caster tries to punch Joe repeatedly in the gut. Joe no-sells it. Joe laid in to some more strikes before landing a suicide dive barely. I don't know if Joe just didn't get far enough off the dive, or if Caster was out of play, not in the right spot, but Joe barely landed, hit the suicide dive. Regardless, back in the ring, Caster landed a backhand, which only served to infuriate the big man, who took Caster down with a shoulder block and then a muscle buster to pick up the victory. He hasn't been able to do that move in a while. Hasn't been able to really do that move since, the Tyson Kidd injury. After the match, Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt interrupted on the big screen. And I go, oh, if this is going to be the new thing, Jay and Sanjay together, and Sanjay's an on-screen character, I'm all for it. I've always liked Sanjay Dutt. Jay Lethal's great. I mean, y'all know I love Jay Lethal. One of my favorite wrestling segments of all time is Jay Lethal, Ric Flair. But regardless, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, they're great together. This was great as well. Lethal said that they changed their outlook last week. Lethal said that he tried to call Joe for months when he found out what happened to Joe, but Joe would never answer. Then, Joe showed up last Friday, so apparently, maybe Joe only answers his phone for billionaires. Lethal said that next week, they'd get Joe a big, massive present to welcome him to AEW. I don't know what that's going to be. Go to the back, we got the Blackpool Combat Club. William Regal lets us know that on Rampage, we got 2 matches from them. Bryan Danielson will be taking on Trent Beretta, and Jon Moxley will be taking on Wheeler Yuta. He said, Wheeler Yuta, if you want to impress anybody, you got to impress the one that's the hardest to impress, and that's Moxley. Moxley said that it would sound like bones cracking, like thunder and raining blood this Friday. So as we moved forward, MJF joined commentary as it was Shawn Dean against Shawn Spears. Spears dispatched Dean right away. Dean eventually came back with some chops, so Spears hit a pump handle neck breaker, which would have got the win had Spears not pulled Dean up. Spears then set Dean up for the C4. But then the cameras cut to the back and showed security all laid out, and that's when I go, frickin' A. We're doing this stupid stuff again. And MJF's like, what's going on? Why is security down? What? This can't. And they're like, oh, we know what this is. We know what this is. And all of a sudden, here comes Wardlow just strolling in like, Guy runs up to him, throw him against this wall. Guy runs up, throw him against the locker. Guy runs up, kick him in the gut, throw him over here. I'm like, I'm not really digging this. All of a sudden, Wardlow comes up on a curtain. MJF's like, where's that curtain? Where's that curtain lead to? And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, Wardlow was out here in the crowd. It's Wardlow. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. This is what Wardlow was doing. You just saw him for 45 seconds to a minute in the back beating people up. Wardlow eventually makes his way out to the ringside area, and there was enough of a distraction where Shawn Dean was able to roll up Shawn Spears and pick up the victory. This is when the show started going downhill for me. I was just like, no. Best friends were backstage. Chuck Taylor talked about everything he did for Wheeler Yuta and said that they could do it together. Trent said he thinks Yuta's a scumbag traitor. He'd show everyone on Rampage. But how would you show that? That line didn't make sense. He's like, Yuta's a scumbag traitor. I'll show everybody on Rampage. How? You guys aren't fighting each other or anything. You're in separate matches. So what are you expecting? I don't even know what that means. Someone in the live chat, let me know, because I don't know what that means. I'll show everybody on Rampage. You're not even doing anything together. You're facing different guys, but from the same faction. But that made no sense to me. Melvin says, when will this Wardlow BS be over with? I mean, they've already got him over as the babyface, so why doesn't he just... I mean, they're probably trying to stretch it to the end of May for Double or Nothing, to be honest. Which it's going to get old quick, because it already has. So they showed a video from earlier. Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz beating down the JAS backstage, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Kingston tossed the backstage monitor at them, but they were able to flee in a car. Then we get back to real time. Kingston and company come down to the ring with mics. Kingston said it was, quote, on site on Jericho's crew from now on. Santana said that the JAS better bring the fight. And Ortiz challenged them to a 6-man tag team match next week that was officially set up. It's Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz against the team of Chris Jericho, Daniel Garcia, and Jake Hager. Kingston said that they'd beat them like Butch Reed and the Junkyard Dog. Video package, well, showed us Hook shrugging off Danhausen's curse. I don't know what this is from, but whatever. Then we got Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling. Jade introduced her new, quote, baddie section out in the audience. Sterling said Marina Shafir wasn't allowed in the baddie section, and Jade said that she was tired of all these MMA people entering wrestling. She said Shafir calls herself the problem. Well, I'm the problem solver. Again, not good. MJF and Shawn Spears were in the back. MJF said that they would have twice as many security next week, and he would be challenging Shawn Dean to a match. Shawn Dean has beat both Shawn Spears and MJF this year. He said that he'd injured Dean worse than he ever could in combat. Basically saying, when you were overseas in combat for the military, I'm going to hurt you worse than any of them could have done. Someone that was in the military and was in combat and was overseas in Iraq, not a fan of that line at all. Then we had the match that jumped the shark that just sucked. It was the Hardys against the Butcher and the Blade in a tables match. And this match just... well, I don't even know. What are the rules here? Both men from a team got to go through a table, but once you go through a table, you can just keep on going. You're not eliminated. You're not sent to the back. They completely failed to establish any rules going into the match, and I don't really know what... the crowd even seemed confused at times. And I don't even know. There are lots of tables. I couldn't even really get much of a review on this, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I didn't know what was going on half the time. There were a lot of tables just scattered everywhere. The two teams kept attacking each other on the outside. They fought more on the outside than they did on the inside. Blade at one point beat down Jeff in the ring. Jeff avoided a shoulder tackle, and Blade was sent crashing through a table. I think, yeah. And I don't know if it didn't count. I don't know. I was confused. I'm like, oh, match is up. No, they're still fighting. So I guess that meant Blade was eliminated-ish, kind of, whatever. Hardys then hit a double DDT on Butcher in the ring. They sent Butcher up on a table, and Jeff set up for a dive through it. Blade then popped up, pushed Jeff down. He kind of then put Jeff through a table, but not really. It cracked a bit, but didn't really break, and then it collapsed under its own weight. And yeah, I guess that meant Jeff was eliminated. After commercial break, Matt drove Butcher through a table with an elbow drop, eliminating him. Butcher didn't care, though, and continued working together with Blade to put him through it. Again, like I said, like everyone was going through tables, and I don't know. I guess Butcher went through tables twice and eliminated early. I was so confused during this match. They're fighting on the outside. At one point, Matt Hardy's on a table. They go to slam him through the table or whatever, and then he falls to the other side of the barricade. Then they suplex him back in, and then all of a sudden, here's Jeff, and Jeff like just do the poetry in motion off the back of the Butcher to the Blade, and he slips right on him, and he falls down on the Blade. Then Matt puts up two tables. Jeff gets the ladder. They put the Blade on the tables. Jeff does a swanton off the top. There we go. That's not what I wrote, but it's what I remember because that's all I remember. This fucking sucked. This was garbage. Matt had a couple twist of fates on the outside as well. But there was no rhyme, no reason, no rules, no nonsense. It sucked. Then after the match, the AFO come out and they're walking down the ring slow, right? Like, oh, it's Andrade, Private Party, and the Bunny. And they're walking down to the ring like, oh, business is about to happen. Business is about to go down. And then Sting's music hits. And they kind of keep walking for a second, and then they go, wait, music. And then they turn around, and Andrade sends Private Party at Sting. He hits them both with the baseball bat. And then meet Sting and Andrade. So Andrade pulls the Bunny in front of him. Like, oh, you wouldn't hit a woman. I hate that you wouldn't hit a woman spot in wrestling. Because what if that wasn't Sting and it was, say, Mercedes Martinez? She's going to hit the Bunny. And then she'll probably hit Andrade too. I've never liked that. Let's put a woman in front of the man so then the other man can't hit the man thing. You're a pro wrestler. You take bumps. You get hit by the other women. Trying to say that the men are stronger than the women, so you don't want to. I don't know. I mean, shit. Do you not see the clusterfuck at GCW? Men were fighting women and women were fighting men. In the back, Christian Cage was there with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and he was frustrated. He chucked his bottle of water and stormed off, and I go, what the what? Jungle Boy then said, you know what? Here, you want to challenge for titles? It's all about the rankings and where you rank. But that doesn't matter because we're the champions and we're making the challenge. And we challenge you next week to come get us for our titles. And I go, okay. So they're just trying to find more ways to not have to go off the rankings. The video package, the hyped up Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose. They will be fighting at Battle of the Belts 2 with the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. And if it's anything like the last Battle of the Belts, the show is going to be on a Saturday night and no one's going to care. It'll be on a Saturday night and it's not going to matter for anything. The last Battle of the Belt show was a nothing show. And this one's probably going to be another nothing show. Then in the back, we had Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm. Basically, they're the first two women to qualify for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And they were told, hey, you two might eventually meet in the tournament. What do you think about that? And Hayter just goes, yeah, I hope so. And Toni Storm's like, handshake, no violence. And she's like, oh, I hope we meet in this tournament. And I'm like, okay. This was more of a WWE segment that we've seen in a long time. You stick one person here, you stick one person here. They both got to look at each other. Recite a line, recite a line, recite a line, recite a line. Oh, yeah, there's an interview right here. Recite a line. Oh, we're back to recite a line, recite a line. Like, what the fuck? Speaking of the Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament, we had a qualifying match. It was Hikaru Shida against Julia Hart. So, Varsity Blondes are making way out to the ring, and Julia Hart walks straight up onto the ramp. She doesn't do the yeah or anything. She just walks out, Julia, and then she walks down to the ring, gets in the ring, does her little thing, and she's just like, yeah, whatever. And Sheeta's in the ring, and they go to start, and she's like, she attacks Sheeta before the bell even rings. She's like choking her with her jacket, and the Varsity Blondes are like, what are you doing? Don't do that. That's not the right move. She goes, you know what? Go. I don't want you here. And they're like, what? And she looks at the referee, Aubrey Edwards, and goes, can you eject? Basically, she's like, can you kick them out? Eject them. So they're going at it for a little while. Cheetah does her signature jump off of a chair on the outside to drop kick or knee your opponent kind of deal. Hart then cut her off upon re-entry from the ring, hits a DDT, and we go to break. Back from the break, Cheetah came back with a hammer fist and a vertical suplex that kind of dropped her on her head. Follow this up with an outside-in suplex for a 2. Hart gouged at Cheetah's eyes and hit a bulldog for a 2 of her own. Cheetah avoided a top rope dive and came back with an elbow smash and a Tamashi. Then she hit the Falcon Arrow and picked up the victory. The match is over and music plays. And I go, whose music is this? And they go, oh, it's Serena Deeb's music. And I go, oh no. Oh no. More of this? I thought we were done with this Serena Deeb, Hikaru Shida stuff. And then, so Shida grabs her kendo stick. She's like, oh. And then she waits. Then she turns around. Oh, there's Shida with a chair. And Shida's, or not Shida, Deeb. And Deeb's got the chair in her hand. She's like, huh? And Shida's just standing there with her kendo stick. And then Serena Deeb just walks off. Really? That was it? Nothing. I thought we were over this. I thought this was months ago. This is done. Finite. Magma Lord says, funny how she still wears the eye patch. Yeah. How many people have been misted by Malachi Black and never wore an eye patch? Like, damn. Another crappy segment. I know I'm being very negative here, but like I said, the middle of this show to me sucked. So, Swerve's getting interviewed, and they're like, oh, Swerve Strickland, seems like you had a very great couple of last days. Last night, or last Sunday, you went to the Grammys with your friends in Las Vegas. And they show some pictures. He's like, yeah, one of my boys produced the Kanye album, and he won a couple awards for it at the Grammys. Really cool, but also I got put through a table last Friday by Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Me and Keith Lee didn't have the best of days. So I got to go take care of some stuff. And then he just walks into the locker room. And it's just, again, another WWE overly scripted segment. As soon as he walks in the locker room, that's called Q. You guys come running after him. Where were they while he's doing the interview? Why couldn't you attack him and throw him into the wall here or something like that before he went into the locker room? No, you got to wait for him to go in the locker room, then go at him. And all of a sudden, you hear Alex Marvez go, oh, cameras, go, get it. And then he's like, cameraman runs in or whatever, and they're beating him up 2-on-1. And all of a sudden, Keith Lee just appears out of freaking nowhere. Like, where the hell was he? Keith Lee's just out of nowhere. He's beating people up. You hear Powerhouse Hobbs, he's got Keith Lee or whatever. He's like, get him, Ricky. And then finally, Keith Lee showed some initiative, and he pounced Hobbs through a wall. And the funny thing is he pounces Hobbs through a wall, and we see two other guys. I don't know who it was. Maybe in the Varsity Blondes, not 100% sure. In the other locker room that they went through the wall of, just walking around like nothing just happened. And then they cut really quick. And I'm like, well, that was a nothing happening segment. Cool. He pounced him through the wall. That was non-exciting at all. Because it was just like, you can tell where everybody's cue was to hit their spot. At the interview. As soon as he walked in the door and the door closed, boom. There's Starks and Hobbs. And they're beaten. Cameraman goes in. Cameraman moves back. As soon as cameraman moves back, boom, there's already Keith Lee. It's like, you could just tell how scripted out this was. Not good. Got some lineups coming, though. This coming week on Rampage, Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta, Bryan Danielson versus Trent Beretta, which they're calling him Trent Beretta again. Got an Owen Hart, women's Owen Hart tournament qualifier, Red Velvet versus Willow Nightingale. We also have Swerve Strickland versus QT Marshall. Next week on Dynamite, we got the AEW World Tag Team Championships on the line. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus against Red Dragon. Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz will be taking on the Jericho Appreciation Society. Then, not this Friday, but next Friday, on what they said is a live Rampage, the AEW World Championship will be on the line in a Texas death match. Hangman Page against Adam Cole. Then the next night, Battle of the Belts, the AEW Women's World title will be on the line. Thunder Rosa defends against Nyla Rose. Then we had our main event that was really good. I thought this main event was great. I liked their first match better, in my opinion. I liked the first FTR Young Bucks match better, but to each their own. But I did see some people on Twitter saying this was the better match. I saw some people on Twitter saying that this was just as good, and I saw some people on Twitter saying they liked the first match better. I liked the first match better. Maybe that's because I liked FTR as the heels, Young Bucks as the baby. I don't know. Maybe that's why I liked it better. But this match just seemed like they tried to do way too much in this match. And then there was the ref's going to watch somebody use a weapon and just not do anything spot, which I always hate in AEW. But regardless, both the ROH and the AAA tag team titles were on the line. And it's cool. They had Bobby Cruz out there to do the ring announcing. That was kind of cool. Really wish they would have had one of the ROH referees too. That would have been even cooler. No, we had Rick Knox. It's all good though. Rick Knox referees every Bucks match. So Cash and Matt start off the match and they wrestle around for a little bit. Cash landed a big shoulder block, forcing the Bucks to regroup on the floor. Dax and Nick then tag in. Nick was frustrated and threw his headband at Dax. Dax then put it in his trunks and tossed it to Matt. Four competitors all faced off in the ring. After a brief exchange, we got a couple hockey fights. But then the Bucks isolated Dax before Cash made the tag to get in, hit a hip toss, and a dropkick combination. Cash then fired up with a double clothesline. FTR both put the Bucks in simultaneous sharpshooters. Again, big old Bret Hart teases. The Bucks fought out and isolated Cash, landing simultaneous enziguris. They continued to beat down Cash through a commercial break. Once back, Cash tripped up Nick and sent Matt packing. He then leapt for the tag. This is a good spot. So Dax, Cash dives to go tag in Dax, but as he does, Nick Jackson at the same time super kicks him in the face. Never seen that before. I thought that was a really cool spot. I really, really, really like that spot. There was some miscommunication. Things got a little clunky for a moment for the Young Bucks, which led to Matt running face first into the barricade, allowing Cash to tag into Dax. Dax then ran wild on both Bucks, suplexing one onto the other. He cradled Matt for a 2. They then exchanged more cradles, and Dax hit a stuff pile driver for a near fall. Cash then suplexed Nick on the apron as Dax swept the leg of Matt off the top turnbuckle. Dax hit a powerplex, and Nick stopped Cash's follow-up with a springboard top rope Frankensteiner. All four men were down until the Bucks hit their bulldog dropkick combination. Nick went for a signature run of offense, but Dax turned the moonsault into a brainbuster on the floor. Cash then hit a gory bomb for a very close near fall in the ring. So Nick runs in and this should be a DQ. He runs in, grabs Rick Knox, pulls himself back first into the turnbuckle, and he just got Knox, and he's like, hey, look at me. Matt goes for the low blow. If you grab the ref like that, that should be an auto DQ. That should automatically be a DQ, putting your hands on the referee. Because he literally runs, grabs Rick Knox, spins around him, grabs him, pulls him into the corner so they're face to face, and then Matt hits the low blow. They followed this up with the big rig and got a good near fall off of it. Bucks hit a 450 moonsault combination for another near fall. Nick then picked up one of the ROH belts and looks like he was going to use it when Dax tried to pull it away from him. Rick Knox is then looking at them like, hey, what are you doing with that belt? What are you doing with that belt? And then the camera cuts for a second. Camera cuts back. Matt uses the belt, or Nick uses the belt. And right as Nick is using the belt, the ref's looking at him, and literally he's like watching, and he goes, as Nick's coming up, he hits and then looks right away. And you hear Excalibur, oh, Rick Knox didn't see it. The referee didn't see it. No, he watched it. And then as soon as, just to say right before, the millisecond before Nick actually hit him with it, he whips his head and looks over at Matt. What kind of crap is that? So he hits him with the belt. We get another good near fall off of it. The Bucks then dispatch Dax with a double super kick. Bucks set it for the BTE trigger and nailed it on Cash. Go for the pin, but Cash's foot lands on the pin. Even though the ref counts 1, 2, 3, he sees that his hand goes down for 3, but the foot was on the rope. Young Bucks slightly start to celebrate when they're told, no, the match ain't over. Like the bell rang and everything, and then it rings again to restart the match. Bucks set it for the Meltzer driver, but Dax interrupted it, and FTR hit a slingshot powerbomb tombstone combination. FTR then hit the BTE trigger, kissed Matt, hit the big rig, and pinned him to retain the titles. To be honest, I thought the match was super fun and good. I felt it was a little convoluted with too many spots, and the first match, in my opinion, was better. Overall, I thought Dynamite started well. Then it just took a nosedive into the ether, and then came back great for the main event. So, not the best episode of Dynamite, in my opinion. But now you know what I thought. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show. With that, remember you can text into 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. Also, remember, you can put a super chat in the YouTube chat to make sure your question, comments, or concerns do get read live on the air. First, let's check the polls. Let's check the poll here on YouTube, Twitch. Whoops. Twitch poll. View it. 67% liked tonight's Dynamite. 33% thought it was just all right. As far as the YouTube poll does go, 59% liked the show. 21% thought it was just all right. And 18% did not like tonight's Dynamite. And finally, the YouTube poll. 72%, it's changing. Let me give it like 5 seconds. 71% liked tonight's show. 21% thought the show was just all right. And 9% did not like tonight's Dynamite. As we move forward, we got text messages here. This person says, who do you think will win both the men's and women's Owens Hart Foundation tournament? Can't answer that question. I can't answer the question of who I think will win the tournament until we know everybody qualified and in the tournament. This person says, how long has the Hart girl been wearing the eye patch? For a while now. I don't remember exactly how long it's been, but it's been way longer than it needs to be. Now it's just getting to the point of ridiculousness. Person says, I think AEW did good tonight. Keep doing amazing, Tim, on PWU. I feel like table match been better than that. Oh, yeah, that tables match could have been a whole lot better. But that tables match, like, there were no rules. So I didn't know what the rules were on how you win. And then eventually, I guess they said both people got to get put through the table. But then the other person can still continue to fight. And then, like, the Butcher got put through tables twice. I don't even know. Person says, I think Dynamite did fine tonight. I know you're talking about AEW Dynamite. I'm not going to talk about the Nash Carter stuff because I don't have any more info than what I already reported earlier. Nash Carter was released today by the WWE, and I do not know what they're doing with the NXT tag titles. So I can't say anything more on that because I don't know anything more on that. And this person says, I thought AEW was pretty good tonight. Really liked the tables match. Well, you're not like me then. The main event also. You should get Lego Star Wars and play it on your Twitch. You want to buy it for me? I'll play it if you buy it. Because I don't have the extra cash right now. I got MLB The Show because that was gifted to me. And that's what I'm going to be streaming tonight. But other than that, I don't have the money to buy a game right now. Got to save some money because I got some unexpected expenses. Some very, very, very big unexpected expenses that just got dropped in my lap in the last 24 hours. So, yeah, I'll stream it if you gift me the game. But right now, I ain't buying no new video games. If I can get codes for games, I'll play them. Or if I get gifted a game, because I got gifted the show for my birthday. But other than that, I'm not buying any new games for a little while. But on that note, like I said, later on, I will be streaming twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy, playing some of that brand new MLB The Show 22. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PW Unlimited. We'll be back here live Friday morning for the wrestling wrap up, and then Friday evening for Friday Night SmackDown. But like I said, I'll be live in a little bit. Twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy, playing some of that brand new MLB The Show 22. So with that, have a great night, guys, and hopefully, I see most of you guys in a little bit. Remember, go over there now, hit the follow button. That way you get notified when I do go live, and then we're all going to have some fun. We'll hang out. We'll play some games. Hopefully my internet don't go out like it did last night. It was out last night for 12 hours. It really sucked. So with that, have a great rest of your Wednesday night, guys. I'll see you next time.